Hi, and welcome to Relationships and Astrology's recording on the new moon solar eclipse in December of 2019. I'm Armand Diaz in Long Island, New York.
And I am Margaret Gray in Dublin, Ireland, and welcome everyone. This is an interesting solar eclipse, isn't it, Armand? Because we were just saying earlier that it doesn't have a lot of relationship relevance to it. Although, can we really say that? Because everything is relationship based. We're constantly relating with each other. But in terms of certainly romantic relationships, it really doesn't have much of a feel about that, does it?
No, this is not. It's not the focus of this one. This is a big Capricornian mishmash of things. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world stage now that has got our attention, and I feel that. I mean, certainly, Venus is in Aquarius, so the energy there goes more towards friendships and social groups, even sometimes, political social groups and things like that. There's not a lot about this that has that kind of, it's not a curl up by the fire with a glass of champagne kind of eclipse.
It's got a really serious feel about it. I mean, the planets generally in the sky have a really serious feel, don't they? I mean, all this Capricorn energy, if you think of the essence of Capricorn, there's a lot about integrity, leadership, but it's a sign that tends to be quite a private sign, quite a self-contained sign. It's all about boundaries. It's all about, with the moon in Capricorn, it's kind of really keeping one's emotions a little bit buttoned up. It's a very kind of, I would say, if we thought about cultures, it's very much a little bit like the British culture of kind of like really not expressing too much. So considering that it's the day after Christmas Day when, a lot of countries who are Christian will be celebrating that day, and a lot of people will be with their families over the holidays, regardless of whether you're celebrating the day or not. It really feels like more a private day than a social day. So I'm really thinking that maybe just to make sure that you build in some time to yourself, maybe time for a walk, or, even just put some headphones on, listen to a podcast or some music, but to make sure that you don't feel pressured to really socialize a lot on that day. That would be my sense around relationships.
Yeah, well, it's hard not to social. I mean, we build up. I mean, the eclipse is technically on the 26th, but I mean, you're really going to feel it most on the 25th. It's not an easy kind of energy for socializing. I mean, it's a new moon among other things. It's an eclipse, a solar eclipse. It's the new moon bringing you inwards in the very work-oriented sign of Capricorn, and yet, there's an intensity about it. It's a sort of implosive energy that always goes with an eclipse. And before the eclipse, the moon, the sun, is trying to Uranus, and afterwards it conjuncts Jupiter. So there's a lot of energy that I feel that there's a lot of energy of a quick release. It's a sort of come in and explode out again type of energy. It'd be very difficult, I think, to remain contained during this eclipse.
Yes, I suppose you are right. I think as much as we might want to, because there's going to be unconscious material floating around because it's an eclipse, even though it's a new moon eclipse, there is also the square to Chiron. So I think there's going to be, the potential for healing, but, whenever healing comes, it comes on top of some kind of awareness that comes up. So, if we're with family, with friends, along, those 2 days, there could be some issues that come up. So I think, yes, it may be hard to contain it, but really do our best to do that is really what I'm saying. Maybe do some meditation. It's really one of those times where, pull on our resources, pull on our tools to really try and stay as grounded as we can within ourselves, and to remember that we may get triggered very easily, more easily than we might usually. And certainly, yes, it's true. I mean, this is going to happen at 5:15 Irish time on, what we call St. Stephen's Day, but the energy is building up the day before, as you say, and so Christmas Day might just not be quite as relaxed as we'd want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, optimistically, a lot of times nothing really happens on eclipses themselves. They are seeding times because they are new moons. And sometimes something does kick off. I don't think though that what is going to happen is something that is necessarily all that relevant for relationships. It would seem that like this might be, in terms of our personal lives, this might be something more towards career. It might be more towards what we're doing in the world. It's like Capricornian stuff more than personal relationships. But if you're in a mood, you're gonna certainly take that out in your relations with others, and those family dinners and whatnot.
Yes, and not to forget that, we're going to be speaking about this more next week, of course, in our recording for 2020. But, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction is right there. It's almost right there. It'll be there on January 12th. It'll be exact. And so that's really the backdrop to which this eclipse is happening in the sign of the conjunction. So not to underestimate that as well, that does give a level of intensity that, may not be easy to pinpoint where is that coming from. So really we're talking about, on a global level, there are general things happening in the leadership of the world, Capricorn leadership, structures, authority, all of those kind of issues, which are very much the father archetype, who's in charge, who's looking after us, who's setting the rules. So there's a lot around the rules. And then on a more personal basis, it feels like, it's right at a time when groups of people tend to get together, family and friends, where there are also issues of authority that do tend to come up. There's nothing like adults going back to their family home, their family roots, to suddenly feel like they're back in their childhood dynamics. So to really look out for those, particularly, dynamics around father archetypes. Check out, what is your father archetype like, and what was your experience of father like? Because this may come to light, over these 2 days.
Yes, very, very much so. Yeah, I think that this is the type of thing that is likely to show up in our relationship. I'm reminded, Ram Dass just passed away, and
Yeah.
his wonderful. If you think you're enlightened, go spend a weekend with your parents.
That's a great one. Yeah, absolutely.
All those
So
family dynamics that come up and so on, they can really be quite stressful. And and I could see too, with all this Capricorn energy, another thing just to be aware is that if the discussions around the dinner tables turn towards politics,
yes.
boy, things could really heat up in that area. Hey, but that's been the case for a while, so.
So instead of thinking about all of that, go to our website and enroll for term 2 of our course. And you'll find out how to work with synastry and composite charts for yourself. You don't need to have attended term 1. This is a standalone term. So you're very welcome to join us. We've got only a few spaces left. So hurry up and contact us pretty quickly if you'd like to join. It will be starting the end of January, and those places will get filled up very quickly. And we will see you soon for the full moon.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Ramon. Bye-bye.